What's up, guys? This is Geek Neekra signing in. In this video, I'll be giving my first impressions on some of the games that were presented at Sony's press conference. If you guys have anything to add, feel free to talk about it in the comments. We had a lot of interesting titles this year, so let's jump right into it. One of the first gameplay features we get to see is from the Killzone expansion, dubbed Shadowfall Intercept, in which 4 teammates are engaged in combat against waves of Helgen troops. Now, by the looks of it, it seems like the 4 player types include an engineer, a sniper, a medic, and a commando. Although I'm underwhelmed by the lack of variability in player role selection and maps, I'm excited to play with all the new toys that are being thrown into the expansion, like jetpacks, artillery strikes, turrets, shields, and whatever else the Killzone team has thrown together. Hopefully the bonuses, challenges, bosses, trophies, and maps will keep players happy and intrigued enough to buy more content the developers will surely put out by the time the expansion is released as a standalone. In the interview with Battlefield Hardline's lead producer, and the 6 minutes of online multiplayer on Battlefield.com, it seems like the gameplay surpasses the heart-racing chaos of a typical Grand Theft Auto heist, and brings more structure to the table. The concept of this game is simple enough, with multiplayer modes such as Heist, in which robbers try to collect a big score and evade the cops, and Blood Money, in which robbers try to stop the cops from taking back a load of cash from a safe house. Now, the challenge for EA is making this game something I want to come back to. The story needs to be dramatic and engrossing, like something off of TNT. It's going to be either hit or miss with this one. Destiny's debut trailer disappointed me somewhat. It was heavily plot-based, and even with all that storytelling and beefy cinematic effects, I left with an overwhelming feeling of meh. From what was presented, the game doesn't stand out to me as a sci-fi action magnum opus. This small planet called the Traveler brought prosperity to our solar system, but then the vague enemy named the Darkness came and kicked our shit in. And now one city remains standing under the safety of the Traveler's belly. Wheatley from Portal goes on to tell you that as Guardians, you carry knowledge of the light of the Traveler, and that you're Earth's last yada yada yada. I want to know more about the different classes, the Titans, the Warlocks, the Hunters. I want to see gameplay of these classes, and an explanation of how the Guardians are able to yield this solar energy. I realize all of this is provided in detail on Destiny's website, but it wouldn't hurt to show us a little more gameplay at E3. That'll make the prospect of me even visiting the website and getting hyped about the beta a little bit more probable. Next, we had a chilling new look at the Order 1886, and although we only had a glimpse of one small gameplay snippet, it was more captivating to me than Destiny's trailer, simply because this one was more personal and immersive. I felt like I was Sir Galahad, nervously creeping through the corridors of an abandoned school in search of an elusive half-breed. By the way, that monster or half-breed was super freaky, but only because it spoke English, unlike countless other video game monsters. It sends me a message that my enemies not only are strong and menacing, but intelligent. Overall, I'm excited for this game. The debut of Entwine provided a nice change of intensity with a concept that looks ingenious and addicting. The fate of 2 souls in love is at the tips of your fingers as you use both analog sticks to worm your way through a vortex of puzzles and patterns. This journey takes you through 9 lives, each ending in reunion of the souls. I'm thrilled to start playing this not only because of the unique and challenging control scheme, but I want to see how a game without narrative can speak unwavering truths of humanity, much like the game Flower did. So, my hopes soar high with this one. Based on how much is known of the plot for the anticipated DLC to Infamous Second Son, I'm interested to see how the player will have to relive Fetch's past. The developers will surely want to slowly unravel Fetch's secrets to the player to influence his decision in one direction or another. Her power to produce purple lightning must certainly mean her karma is somewhere between Hero and Infamous. The game will be sure to head in many different directions based on choices Fetch will have to make upon escaping. I feel that Little Big Planet's bold decision to incorporate 3 new characters only pushes the boundary of fun and creativity that can be had with this game. Hopefully, after breaking it in, the game can become intuitive, as it seems even the developers were having a bit of trouble with it The biggest thing that I can see bringing the game down would be the introduction of different tools like the Pumpinator. I feel like if Sackboy's duties became too mechanized, some of the purity of relying on your wit will fade away with this lovely little platformer. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the gore fest of Bloodborne emerges with Victorian-era architecture to boot. No, seriously, look at all this towery nonsense. I wonder how long it took just to create this pan. Anyway, our shadowy main character seems to enjoy using his giant scythe thing to do whatever it is he's trying to do. The faintest idea I have for a plot is that this is From Software's idea for a Neo Dr. Frankenstein. Our protagonist may be collecting zombie parts for something. Time will tell. Far Cry 4's debut trailer took me on a ride that slowly climbed and suddenly soared into non-stop action. Through the eyes of Agent AJ, Kyrat is a mountainous region that is marvelously detailed in its imperfection. It basically plays like a first-person Uncharted, which I like. The gameplay shows that the best next step is not always clear, and that a little resourcefulness goes a long way. Indeed, the phrase, "every second is a story," is the best way to describe the gameplay. Let's not forget about those majestic elephants. That'll be sure to win a few awards. I must admit, the name Tim Schafer was unfamiliar to me up until this press conference. It seems I just started getting into video games in the early 2000s, at the cutoff point of PC adventure titles like Grim Fandango. Mexican burial traditions and film noir are an odd but charming combination that make for an appealing storyline. The studio Devolver Digital announced some indie games that seemed promising. I would rank Titan Souls as my number one because it looked like it employs the most strategy out of the pixelated features, and it also seemed like a major departure from the shoot-'em-up scenarios of Broforce, Not a Hero, and Hotline Miami. The Talos principle is probably the second most appealing feature from Devolver, simply because I've never encountered anything quite like it. Lasers, mirrors, a computer, and likely a whole host of different tools are used to somehow transcend the human condition. Abzu continues the evolving theme of a serene yet dynamic and challenging environment. I'm excited to see what elements of Journey will be present in this game. How and what our protagonist can communicate with and interact with, what the ultimate goal or destination is, and what's with that huge mecha-like thing in the murky abyss. Overall, I hope Abzu delivers intuitive and collaborative gameplay, just as Journey so eloquently provided. No Man's Sky was the most curious title to emerge from this press conference in my opinion. One of my first impressions was that it played like an evolved version of Pokemon Snap, as it seemed like the only thing you can do as you walked around was look at and classify animals. No discernible meaning can be pulled out of this game, except for the exploration of a vast multicolored universe. And besides the vague first look the trailer provided, I still have hope for this small team of developers. Hopefully worlds won't just look different based on color patterns, and some kind of meaningful story can be carved out of this game. Arkham Knight looks sleek, sophisticated, and menacing, and with the arrival of a whole host of new enemies, Batman has a brand new arsenal of gadgets. My first impressions was that I couldn't believe I was seeing gameplay. As Batman glided across his vast new playground, I quickly realized how just managing to land on the ground in one piece would be a challenge. I'm excited to see future trailers featuring the mechanized Arkham Knight, the anticipated villain created solely for the game. Well, that's all I've got. I'm really excited to see how these games hold up to my expectations in the future. Don't forget to check out the other content on this channel. We've got coverage of E3 events and plenty of Let's Plays for you guys. Till next time, this is Geek Neekra, signing out.